this is MJ, and in today's tutorial I'll be showing you how to make this halter top. It has a tie that goes up around the neck, so I'll show you how to make the cup sizes and the piece here to go around the body. I've added this little extra section in here, and that just helps make it a little bit more modest to cover up some of the cleavage. You could even go higher, or you could completely leave this open, as you see many of these bralette style tops done. So I've used Stroll fingering weight yarn for this project. So I've shown you this one here in white, and I'm going to be working with the Rainforest Heather today. So I'm working on the medium size, and you need 2 balls to complete your medium size halter top. Okay, so I'm just going to explain to you how the sizing on this works. So this is a -4 inch of ease. So what that means is if I measure this across, it's 13 inches. So the total going around is only 26 inches, but this fits my body well. So if I measure under my bust, I'm about 30 inches. So that is why I've said this is a -4, because this is actually only 26 inches, but it's fitting around my body that's 30 inches. Now, the bust up here is a little different as well. This is going to stretch out. It's open at the back, so we're not worried about this being wide enough down here to fit your bust, because this is going to open up and fit your bust. So I have a 36-inch bust. So I have a 6-inch difference between my measurement here and here, okay? And now you can also, of course, alter your length. You could keep this shorter, however really you want to make this. Now, when we're thinking of sizing, altering sizing, I'm going to go with basically 2 inches difference around. So the next size down, so the small, if you were to measure across, is 12 inches. So that's 24 inches around. So I would assume if you measured under your bust, you would measure approximately 28 inches. So that's how I want you to determine the size to make when looking at the pattern. You want to take your measurement under your bust, so you're going to see how this is going to fit. And like I say, this is really stretchy. It's going to be fitted, which is the style of this top. Now, what I also suggest is getting some removable pads. I usually pull these out of my bra, so I have some on hand. So I'm sure you could maybe purchase them too if you look online, but you could either stitch these in, hand stitch it, or just add them in. If it's snug enough and these will stay secure, I would just add them in without stitching. But if you want them to stay in place, then just get a couple of your soft cups and just stitch them in, because this will be a little bit see-through. So it's just going to give it shape and make sure that you're covered up. So I'm going to be using my Furls Odyssey hook for this pattern, and I'm using my D hook. Now I apologize, my hook unfortunately got bent, but it still works, and I already started it for this project, so I'm going to continue using it rather than switching out to another hook. So I'm going to need to get another D hook. I think someone stepped on it. Not sure exactly what happened, but we were able to bend it back, but I just don't want to play with that too much because I don't want it to break. So anyways, I'm using my Furls Odyssey D hook for this pattern. So to begin this pattern, we're going to be making our cups. So that's how it starts out. We're making 2 cups. Then we're going to attach them here together, and we're going to create that front band. I'm also going to work up the back band piece so that we are working this in a few different pieces, and then we're going to put it together, and it's much easier than you think. So we're going to need a stitch marker. So you'll need a stitch marker for making your cups. Okay, so I like to pull from the center of my ball, so it sometimes makes a little bit of a mess to start out with. We'll begin with a chain. So put that on your hook, and you are going to chain out 22. And now you're going to work a half double crochet in the third chain from the hook. So 1, 2, 3. So for your half double crochet, you're going to yarn over, push your hook through the chain, and make your half double. So now you're working along your chain and when you get to the end, you should have 20 half double crochet stitches. Okay, so just keep count as you go, just to make sure you haven't been off on your chain count. Okay, so I've worked up my chain 20 stitches. Now in that last stitch, we're going to add another half double crochet. And then I'm going to take my marker and I'm going to mark that stitch because that is going to be the center. So now we're working down the opposite side of the chain. So this side now of the chain. So again, we want to have 20 stitches all the way down so that we are even. So count as you go to make sure that you're on track with your stitch count. And I'm going to do that off camera. Okay, so I've worked down 20. Now I'm going to chain 1 and turn. Okay, so one side has 20. We have 1 at the top. The other side has 20. So in total, there's 41 stitches there. And it's counted here as 2 rows. If you look kind of across the bottom, how we're looking across here at rows. Now what you're going to do for every row now here and throughout is we're going to just work chain 1, work half double crochets to the marked stitch. Okay, so working all the way up now again is 20 stitches. We're working all the way up to the marked stitch, so when you get to the marked stitch, I'll meet you there and show you what to do. Okay, so at our marked stitch, you can remove the stitch marker. And now we're going to work 5 half double crochets. So 1, 2, 3. In the third stitch, we're going to add the marker again because that will be the center. So 4 and 5. So this is how it's increasing. Every time you get to the marker, you're going to be adding 5 stitches. And then just working half double crochets in every stitch. So you're just repeating this every time, okay? So you'll work down, work back up, and then adding 5 in the marker every time, adding the marker in the third so that it's in the center. So what is going to happen when you get this? So for our medium size, here I'm going to have a total of 28 rows across the bottom. So 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. So you have 14 on one side. 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 on this side. So across the bottom, in total, we have 28 rows, and that is important for the next step. So we know that we have 28 on this cup, 28 on this cup. Now, for instance, for our small size, we would only have 26. For our extra small size, we would only have 24. So the height will be a little bit different as well. So as you go down in cup size, your height is going to be a little bit smaller. So it will be just a smaller overall triangle or cup. Okay. Okay, so now for this next step, the rule of thumb is when we worked a row of half double crochets, when you work across your stitches, if it was a single crochet row, you would do 1 single crochet per row. For a double crochet, you would do 2 stitches per row. So for half double, you're doing 1.5 stitches per 2 rows, if that makes sense. So what you do is you take the total rows. So I have 28 and 28. And you would multiply 28 times 2. So we have a total of 56 rows. So now what I'm going to do, to know how many stitches I need across, I'm going to multiply that by 1.5. So I'm not working across 56 stitches, I'm going to work across 56 times 1.5. So that works out to 84 stitches. Now, I already know the pattern that I'm working. This little single crochet cluster stitch, I need an extra stitch. I need an odd number. So I'm going to increase that to 85. So now what we're going to do is work across a total of 84, but we're going to have 1 extra stitch in the middle, and that's going to give us our 85. So we need to work across the first cup 42 stitches, chain 1, and 42 stitches. So let me show you how to do that. So I find it's really good when you're doing this. It might take a try or two, but I like to really try to eyeball out my rows. So here's my first row. The next row bumps up more. So when you look at your 2 rows here, you know you're going to need to put 3 stitches for every 2 rows. You just need to take your time. We know we need to get 42 stitches across. 1, 2, 3. So that's what I really like to do, is I'm just, okay, I've got the first 2 covered, I've done 3 stitches. You put your finger here, this marks the next 2 rows. There's 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and then you could mark your next 2 rows and so on. So I'm going to work that off camera now. I've given you my tips, and we're going to get across 42 stitches. Okay, so I've worked across 42. Now I'm going to chain 1. That's going to give us that extra stitch that we need for the stitch pattern. And then we're just coming right across. We're doing the same thing. We need to get 42 stitches across this cup. So there's 1, 2, 3. And I'm just going to count across to make sure that I get my 42, and then in total we're going to have 85 stitches. Okay, so now we have our cups attached, and what we're going to do is start into our stitch pattern. So we'll chain 1 and turn. This is going to be our right side. You can mark that if that just kind of helps, that that's the right side of our bralette. So what we're going to do for the stitch pattern is the first stitch, we're going to work 2 single crochet. We're going to skip a stitch and 2 single crochet in the next stitch. Skip a stitch, 2 single crochet in the next stitch. Skip a stitch and 2 single crochet. So we're just doing these little single crochet clusters. Okay, so you're just working that all the way across. I'll kind of show you on this one how it looks. So you're just getting this nice little textured look. Okay, so that's what the 2 single crochets is going to create. And we're ending only with 1 single crochet. Okay, so we always start with 2, skip a stitch, and end with only 1. Okay, so when you get to the end, you're just adding that 1 single crochet in the last stitch, and then we'll chain 1 and turn. Okay, and we're just adding again 2 in the first, skip a stitch, skip 1 stitch, and then 2 in the next. Okay, so that's all the pattern is for this section. And I want you to work that until you have, here's this one, it's about 1.5 inches. So you're looking at about 1.5 inches of that pattern work, and then I'm going to meet you up again. Okay, so I worked this section up until I had 1.5 inches. Now the back panel is worked the same way, but you want to have 4 inches. So what you need to do for your back panel is chain out 86 stitches, and then you're going to work back in the second chain from the hook, 2 single crochet, skip a stitch, 2 single crochet, and work that across. I'll pop up the directions for you just so you're sure on how to do that. And then you want to work until you have 4 inches in total. So you have a back panel, and this is how the front looks. Now you may want to block this piece. Mine's a little wonky here, so you may want to block that out before 13 inches by 4 inches. Now the next thing you're going to do is take your yarn needle. I have right sides facing, and you're just going to seam these pieces together. So you're seaming it all the way up the side of your cup here. So you're seaming it that total of 4 inches. And then you can just weave this end and do the exact same thing to the other side. And once you've completed that, I'll meet you up to show you our next step. Okay, so there's a few different steps now we need to take. So if you didn't want the body part of this much longer, you could just finish off your edging. But now I wanted my piece to cover more of the stomach. So I've added an additional 3 inches of length, and that will take your top down to about of the top of your jeans if you have a high-waisted pair of jeans. So what you want to do that is join onto one of the corners. So I am going to chain 1, and to start with I'm just going to work single crochets around. Now you want to make sure that you have a total of 85 plus 85. So you want to work that you have 170 stitches all the way around. Okay, so once you get all the way around, you're going to chain 2, and now we're going to work half double crochets in every stitch around. So like we did when we started with our cups, we're going to be working half doubles. So you're just working this in every stitch around, and when you get all the way around, I will meet you up again. Okay, so once you get all the way around, you're going to slip stitch in the first half double crochet to join. So next what you want to do is add in this small inner piece. And I'll just show you on the white how that's going to look. So you're going to add a piece in here just to give a little bit more coverage. So how this is going to work, we're going to join in down here. Okay, we'll chain one and we're going to work a single crochet right in that stitch. Now we're going to slip stitch over here to the side. And up again one more. Now we're going to turn, and in that single crochet stitch that we just made, down in the center, we're going to add 2 single crochet. Now we're going to slip stitch over to the other edge and up again and turn. And then we'll just work across 1 single crochet in each stitch. Then we're going to slip stitch up along the edge into the next 2. You need to find, again, those stitches that we just made. You're going to work two in the first, and 2 in the next. And then you're going to slip stitch into the next 2 along your cup base. Those stitches are really easy to see. We're going to turn, and now you have 4 stitches to work into. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we'll slip stitch in the next 2. And again, we're going to work across 4 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, on the side here, we're going to slip stitch up into the next 2. 1, 2. Turn. And we're going to increase again. Okay, so we're going to increase 2 in the first stitch. And then 1, 2, and 2 in the last stitch. Okay, so now we have 6 stitches, and then slip stitching up to the next 2. And turn. So now once we do an increase, as you can see, I want to do 2 rows that aren't increasing. And then we'll do 1 row across without increasing. Okay, so I've finished that non-increase and I've slip stitched. So I've done 2 rows not increasing, and then we'll do another increase. So I'll work 2 in the first stitch. One, 2, 3, 4, and then 2 in the last. So you're just going to continue in this pattern. Really, you can cover up as much as you want. Okay, so you can really go up as far as you want for your coverage, okay? So I've gone up on this one here. I'll just give it a measure for you. About 3 inches. Okay, so I'm finishing up with one final row. So I've gone up to 12 stitches. I've done 2 more rows with 12 stitches. And so I finished on the right side. I'm working back across one more time. Okay, so that's 12, and we'll just slip stitch once on this side and then fasten off. Okay, and then next we're going to do the edging and the halter straps. So what we want to do is join on to start working the edging. So we'll chain 1, and we're going to work single crochet stitches around. Basically, you're edging the whole piece in single crochet, but when we get up to the top here, we're going to do foundation single crochet chain. So I'll show you how to do that when I get to the top. We want a foundation chain of 130 for our strap. So I'm going to go back down. I've done a single crochet in the very top. I'm going to go back down through, pull through, yarn over, and pull through 1, pull through 2. And now I'm going to go back down underneath there. So we pull up a loop, pull through 1, and pull through 2. And if you're unfamiliar with the foundation single crochet, I will put a link up to a video that you can see better than this, because it is difficult to see. So you're going to chain that out to 130, and then you're going to work back down, go around, doing the same thing on this side, and you're just basically then working your single crochet all the way around. So once you get to the top of this, you're going to work back down the chain. I need to fix this up because it was hard for me to do that on camera. So you're going to chain out 130, then you'll just start working back down 130 single crochets down that. And then it's going to look like this, okay? So you just continue edging, do your other strap, and join on. So I'm going to work the rest of my piece now off camera. I'm going to finish my band section and I'm going to finish my edging. Okay, so I've been working away on my edging and I have chained out 120 for my strap. So we'll just take a look at this one here and I'm going to measure it out for you. So it's roughly about 25 inches. Now, what you can do is steam this after it's finished and then it's going to come out a little bit nicer. So here's the white one. I steamed, blocked this one, and the straps have come out really nice. They were curling before, but the steamer has really helped to just flatten that out, and all of it looks really good. So now I was struggling in my last clip to show you how to do the foundation single crochet. So I'm just going to pull this one back and see if I can show you a little bit better how this works. So when you go back, you're going to want to go under those loops right there. You pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through one. That's the foundation chain, and you can always put your finger right on it, then yarn over and pull through two for the single. So where I have my finger, that is where you're going back down. So if you turn, you're going through, and then you're picking up that other little loop that's right there. So you're actually going under two little loops, pulling that up, yarning over, pulling through one, then yarn over and you're pulling through two. I'm just going to pull that back because I already had my 120 stitches. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to chain one, I'm going to turn, and I'm just going to single crochet back down all of these stitches that I've created. And this is just going to make the strap a little bit thicker. Now I found when I was doing this with my first top, I crocheted my stitches a little bit tighter, so I ended up doing 130, but this time I was a little bit looser with my stitches, so I went with 120, and that's why I measured it out for you, because you can really make it as long as you want. You just want probably about 25 inches will be a good length to tie up around your neck. So all you're going to do now is work back down that foundation single crochet chain. So we're working back down into the stitches. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to just meet you at the corner here, and then what I'm going to do is finish working around my piece, just finishing off the edge. Okay, so I put another single crochet right in this stitch, and then I've just continued working all the way down, and I'm just going around the back, and then when I get to where I started, I'm just going to slip stitch to join. And then I will weave in all of these ends, and I'm going to steam block it, make sure the straps look really good and flattened out with the steamer. And if you don't have a steamer, I will have a link for it in the description box. I have a hand steamer that I use frequently for all of my crochet projects, but I also use it just for steaming clothes and stuff as well. It's really handy to have one if you don't already own a steamer. Okay, so I slip stitch to join. And now for the band that we worked down here, what you're doing is you're working a round of single crochet and then half double crochet. Work a round of single crochet and then a round of half double crochet. And you want to just complete that making whatever length that you feel comfortable with. So I've worked about 3 inches of length, and I've ended that I have 2 rounds of the single crochet just to give it a little bit more strength at the bottom. And like I say, you can add your cups to that. You could hand stitch these to stitch them into place, or just add them when you're wearing it just remove them from one of your bras and just insert them when you're wearing the top, just to make sure that you're fully covered. So I'm going to go ahead and steam this up, and then I'll meet you up one last time just to show you the finished product. Okay, so I finished steaming it. You can see how nice and flat it comes out. I steamed the top and all of the strapping. Did a nice tie. Will go up around your neck, and then you can just see how the back looks here as well. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to stay updated on new videos and tutorials, hit that subscribe button and tap the bell. Thanks so much, everyone.